All right, guys, what's up? Welcome back. Hope you're having a good weekend out there so far. A special Saturday show here on the Rodman Rundown. Usually we don't do anything on the weekends unless something big comes out as far as news goes. And we did get something like that here today as Hunter Schuerenberg has reunited with Vermeer Motorsports for 2025. And honestly, I'm not too surprised to see this happen. Hunter Schuerenberg has been a part of this team before in the past. He was with them for about 3 or 4 years, between the years of 2020 to 2023. And he did have some pretty darn good success with this team. And now they are back together for next year. We don't know what their schedule is going to look like quite yet. They have not made a decision if they're going to go and run some kind of national tour, if they're going to go and run a regional tour, if they're going to do a pick and choose schedule. Right now, we do not have that information. But I really do think this is a good pickup for, Vermeer Motorsports. When you think about all the free agents that were available, you think about Hunter Schuerenberg, you think about Corey Eliason, he gets picked up, but Zeb Wise was another guy to think about as well. Throw Scotty Thiel in the mix, you throw Cy Lynch in the mix. There's a couple other guys that are available as far as free agents go. But Hunter Schuerenberg, very, very established driver, and he has shown that he can win, and he has shown that he can win in this car, which I think is one of the main things that went into the reasoning behind him jumping back behind the wheel of this thing. And we want to talk about a little bit here today on the channel. So we'll get to this here in just a moment. But the last time that Hunter Schuerenberg was racing with Tony Vermeer, racing with Clinton Boyles and that team, 2021, he did run full-time with the All-Star Circuit of Champions. Now, in 2020, he didn't run with the All-Stars, but he did run a lot with the Outlaws, with the All-Stars, kind of a pick-and-choose type of schedule. Did win a couple of races in 2020, but I want to focus more on when he was a full-time driver with the series. In 2021, he had 50 starts that season. He was able to get one win under his belt, 10 top fives, 31 top tens. He was third in points that year with the All-Stars and a 10.9 average finish. And in 2022, the best season of his, I would say, his tenure with this team. 2022, he had 45 starts. He had 4 wins that year, 15 top fives, 25 top tens. He was third in points and a 10.8 average finish. So even with the top fives going up, the wins going up, his average finish only improved by 0.1 of a position that season. And then in 2023, he ran 17 races with the All-Stars before he was fired for, I believe it was Kerry Madsen or his buddy Kofoid or somebody. The car had a weird year in 2023, but he had 17 starts before getting fired, 1 win, 5 top fives, and 9 top tens. Obviously, we don't have a points finish, and he was 11.9 on the average finish department that season with the All-Stars. If you look at his sprintcarratings.com, now when you try and compare Hunter Schuerenberg to the driver that just was let go by this team, Chris Windom, it's really not even close when you look at the numbers. Obviously, the wins are a big part of it. Chris Windom was never able to get a win. But when you look at the sprintcarratings.com ranking, Schuerenberg has been a top 40 guy for the last 4 or 5 years at least. In 2021, they had him as the 29th best driver in the country. The next year, he bumped it up to 23rd overall in the country. 2023, he was 31st overall. And last year, even driving multiple different race cars, I'm talking 5, 6, 7 different rides, he was still 38th overall according to their ranking system. Now, as a race fan, you might think that Schuerenberg is, he sucks or whatever. How the hell is he 38th? He is a good driver. He has, won races this year. He won 4 races, by the way, this year. I have that down at the bottom of the board. 3 of those coming with the Power I-410 series at Lake Ozark Speedway. The other one coming with the Fast series at Paragon Speedway in Indiana. Those 3 with Power I driving the Breeder Motorsports 19 car, and that Fast win came with the Mike McGee number 11 machine. So he was able to win 4 races. He ran a ton of different cars. Besides those 2 I just mentioned, off the top of my head, he ran the Hayward 19. He ran the Landon Simon 24. He ran the Kevin Newton 16 TH. He ran the TKS Motorsports 2KS. I know I'm missing one in there, but he ran the Zemco car last year. He's ran all kinds of different cars, and we made a video about that specifically, talking about all the different rides that Schuerenberg has been in over the last year or so. And he's been able to perform for the most part in a lot of them. Did not have a very good run there with the TKS car, which kind of bit him in the rear end there because he was having good success with that Breeder car. He left that to go to the 2KS, and then he got let go from there. and then the 19 had already filled the seat in with somebody else, and he was kind of left high and dry there. Now, I wanted to look at this because could we see this team go back on the road with High Limit Racing next year? I do think the chances of that are very, very good. Schuerenberg and Clinton Boyles, they have good chemistry together. They're related. I don't know what the exact relation is there, but they've shown they can win races together in the past. Schuerenberg has traveled to a lot of different racetracks around the country, so he has that experience to go with him as well. But the problem is, if they want to try and get one of those charter spots with High Limit, which I know that Tony Vermeer, the owner of that team, is very interested in getting one of those eventually. It's going to be tough to acquire because Chris Windom did put them in a little bit of a hole when it comes to trying to get one of those. Now, how it works with High Limit, they take the average from the first 2 years of being on the tour and so the first 5 were given out this year, right? The top 5 in points. The second 5 go to the best average finish for that team in the first and the second years. The problem with Vermeer is Windom finished 15th in points this year out of 16 drivers, and that means there are at least 6 guys that are in front of him that we either know are returning to High Limit Racing or that we have an idea that they could. They're still thinking about it. They might be able to do it right. The first one on the board is the 13 car driven by Dason Persley. That team finished 6th in points. Is that right? They were 7th in points, excuse me. 7th in points. The 87, which will be the Ridge & Sun Racing entry, finished 10th in points. The 5 car that will be driven by Brenham Crouch, they were 9th in points. The 26 that was driven by Zeb Wise was 11th in points. The 88 of Tanner Thorson, no, he was 11th. Zeb Wise was 12th. And then Casey Kane, if he decides to come back, he was 13th in points, right? So a lot of guys already in front of the Vermeer 55 if they wanted to try and get a charter, meaning that Hunter Schuerenberg would have to run like top 5, maybe 6th, 7th in points and hope for a couple of these guys to have a bad year, which I think he can outrun, like Brenham Crouch. I think he can outrun Casey Kane on a consistent basis, but it's those other guys, Dason Persley and Justin Peck and the 87 of Reitzel. Those guys are going to be tough to beat, on a weekly, on a more consistent basis. But if they want to get a charter, it is going to be extremely tough with the hole that they are in, which leads me to believe that potentially they could run the POWRi Series. Hunter Schuerenberg is a driver based in Missouri, and I know he's ran POWRi a lot over the last couple of years. We already mentioned he got 3 wins with them last year. And with that $50,000 to win championship on the line, I think that could entice that team to try and run that 35 race schedule with POWRi, and they could still fill in and go run a bunch of big races with either of the series around that area and still be able to have a pretty solid year as far as, purse money goes and things like that. They can get tow money from POWRi. They can have a championship fund with POWRi and still have that extra bonus money to, go off of at the end of the year. But I would not be surprised at all to see this team come back to High Limit Racing and try and make a run of it. It would be fun to have a guy like Hunter Schuerenberg on the road each and every week. He's a good personality. A lot of people seem to like him as well. And this team, they have that history together, and they've shown they can win races. Now, would they win a race next year with High Limit? I think their chances would be much, much higher with Hunter Schuerenberg than it was with Chris Windom, as Schuerenberg has proven to be a winner in 410 wing sprint car racing already. Windom is still trying to get there, but Schuerenberg, a much more established driver in this type of racing, and I think that they would be a lot closer to being able to win races next year. Obviously, it's going to be a tough field of cars no matter what, but I think Schuerenberg adds more to the depth of the field if he does come back to High Limit, which is something that we talk about a lot here on this channel. The depth of High Limit last year was extremely, extremely tough compared to the Outlaws. If Schuerenberg comes on board, it's going to make it even tougher, and it's going to just make it more fun, man. The thing with High Limit was, man, you did not know, it seemed like each and every night, who was going to win the race. Even if they start on the front row, you did not think that they were probably going to win. So we'll see what this team does. I'm sure they'll make an announcement here within the coming weeks of what their plans will be. While that's going on, I'll try and send out a couple of text messages and see if I can maybe get you guys some insider information. Probably won't happen, but we're going to at least try. But hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know your thoughts on Hunter Schuerenberg returning to his former team, a team where he got at least 6 wins with the All-Stars, got wins with the IRA, wins with the Fast Series, and all over the place in the Midwest. So I want to hear your thoughts down below in the comment section. Make sure to hit the subscribe button if you can. Hit the like button as well. And we'll talk to you guys again here soon. Appreciate all of your support.